Hey, oh yeah, happy 2020. This is the first video I'm making this year, and what better way to start the year off than with a serial killer. Also with a blurry camera because it's out of focus for the first half of the video, so whoops. So how did you guys spend your New Year's? Because I spent mine alone in my house, listening to anime openings and playing Dead by Daylight. I don't really like holidays that much, only because if I'm not in a good mood, you just want to be alone. But if it happens to be New Year's, and it's like, oh come on, yes, be happy because New Year's, like, nigga, I want to cry. That's what I want to do right now. So speaking of crying and water and thirsty girls, I know that was reached by a stretch, don't worry. Let's talk about Joe from You. Now, Netflix's You is an amazing show. It's flipping sensational, so I won't be doing major spoilers, only like minor things that you probably know already if you heard of the show. So watch it if you haven't watched it already, but if you want to know more about why everyone loves the serial killer, watch this video first. It starts off like a cliche love movie where a guy meets a girl in the bookstore. They both pick the same book at the same time.
Hello there. Who are you?
So this guy, Joe, talks to this girl called Beck.
Hello. Do you work here?
Guilty.
He gets her name and they have a nice chat, and then he decides to stalk her and break into her apartment. After stalking her long enough to know what she likes and dislikes, he then decides to make a move on her, and because he knows everything about her and literally everything she likes and dislikes, he obviously is successful and falls in love with her. And he ends up feeling like he has to protect her. And he does this by killing people he thinks are too close to her, like her ex-boyfriend, her friends who are too controlling or spend too much time with her. And it's kind of crazy. But social media love him. There's a lot of tweets that are pretty funny that I'll show you on the screen.
Can you eat pussy like that?
Of girls just going crazy over this guy. If you've watched a lot of movies in the past decade, in the past last decade, 2020 gang. If you watch any movies in that time period, you may have noticed a trend. No means yes, or how far will you go for your love? Where a guy meets a girl and he falls in love with her, but the girl doesn't like him back. So he tells her he likes her, and then she's like, no, I'm not interested, sorry. And he's like, all right, I'll make you love me. So he tries to convince her to love him by doing all these crazy, creepy, illegal things. But it's okay because he loves her, right? It's all in the name of love. Twilight's a really good example of this because this man, Edwards, he literally breaks into her house, watches her sleep, and tells her that he watches her sleep, and then she's just like, ah, so you're gonna kiss me or what?
How did you get in here?
The window. I like watching you sleep.
A few inches later.
But if Edward were ugly, short, or black, he'd be in jail and he'd be seen as a creep by everyone online. It's funny because I watched Twilight when I was like 14. I watched it when I was 14 and I didn't think anything was wrong with that. When I watched it, I was like, oh, they're just in love. Like, it's alright. He loves her. I never thought it was weird because it was love, like what the media has told us that love was. Media have us thinking that love is all this weird struggle and stuff. Like, love can be easy. It's not everyday struggle. It's sometimes enjoyment, you know? It's not every day he cheated on me, but I love him, so I'm staying with him. It's not every day you have to go through suffering. Have it easy for once. Give yourself a break. Leave him. Sorry, I'm getting into my anti-relationship rant already. It's kind of messed up that society has always seen love as like what the man wants. Like, oh, I love her. She doesn't love me yet, but I'll make her love me. Like, I know a lot of girls in real life who are too nice to say no. They'll be in a club, right, and then they'll have this guy approach her, and then she'll tell me like, oh, he wasn't really that cute, but you know, he's here and he approached me, so he likes me, so obviously I just had to be nice. Like, no, you don't have to be nice. Tell me he's ugly. Tell him go away. Tell him leave me alone. I didn't say that most of his behavior is because sometimes girls are too afraid to say no to guys because they're scared that he'll get violent with them. So yeah, I probably should have accounted for that, but anyway, that's not relevant to the story. Well, it kind of is relevant because in You, they tackled this theme of like how far you go for love and how far you go to make someone love you. So as I mentioned before, the main character Joe is a serial killer, and how he kills people mainly is firstly he stalks them to know what they like and dislike, and then he meets them accidentally in like a public event, like, oh, it's you, oh my god, all the odds I've run into you, Benjamin Frank Ali, who lives on the 37th floor of Woodcroft Road. And then he charms them by saying things that he knows they'll like, hey man, your aunt's boyfriend's sister's cousin's son, yeah, he was totally a prick. I mean, if I were you, I'd do the exact same thing. I don't judge you at all, man, trust me, you're totally right. And then when he gets their trust, he invites them somewhere secluded where he knocks them out with a rock usually, which is kind of funny, and he drags them to his cage.
Hi, welcome to Chill.
And this cage is a cell where he keeps people in. It's soundproof so they can't scream to get help. He brings them food at like regular intervals and he talks to them until they give him what he wants, and then he kills them usually. Sometimes not, but most of the time he kills them. But one thing I forgot to mention is that he's kind of hot. Girls and gays all over social media, all over this guy, like, oh, you can put me in the cage any day. Like, someone literally tweeted a picture of him and was like, hey, that cage is looking pretty good right now. And that's within hilarious, but it's kind of stupid to see how thirsty people are for a literal serial killer, because Joe shouldn't be likable. If this sort of thing was in real life, you want to have him in prison, but people are rooting for him to get away. Personality wise, he is a narcissist. He's always saying one thing like, oh, I totally love that, and he's actually thinking, little bitch, but people still love him. Someone else put this gif and said me walking into his cage. Obviously, it's the internet and people are usually sarcastic and not actually serious on there, but the fact that so many people feel this way is kind of disturbing. So I want to tackle why exactly likely people are in love with this hot serial killer. So this is the part of the vid where I give an anecdote to like get your attention back as an audience and like not make you all bored. So while you're here, subscribe, you know, like and comment, please. Please, well, he's gonna come and kill me. Have you ever been scrolling on social media, on like Twitter or something, and then you see someone post something really sad, like, guys, my daughter is missing. She won't come home. It's been 21 years and she won't answer her phone or anything. So can you please like and subscribe and buy my merch to help me find my daughter? And the next tweet after that is like a meme. And you start laughing, and you feel bad for laughing because you shouldn't be laughing so soon after you saw something so tragic, but you are laughing anyway. So you're like, oh man, I feel like an awful person. Yeah, you've been there. I know you've been there because I have all the time. This is because of conditioning. When you hear about something so often, even something tragic, it gets normalized to you. Remember in primary school when there was that one kid who had like obviously very abusive parents who used to swear all the time, and he would swear in school. He would be like, oh, you stupid bitch, shut up. And everyone else was just like, it was such a big deal back then, but now people swear like 27 times in a day and don't even bat an eye about it. When back in the day, it used to be like, oh, woo, I'm going to tell the teacher on you. This is the point. Like, Netflix is very smart for making you because Joe only murders people. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out, right? Cut the crap, yeah? No one in 2019 is like, you killed someone else. Nigga, grow up. But things like pedophilia and sexual assault, those are things that generally get more sympathy because they're more inexcusable. Like, it could always be like, oh, I killed this guy because he was gonna kill me. I killed this guy because I thought it was right to do. But to ever like abuse someone like a kid is never right. Which is why people sympathize with Joe so much because he's always killing people that he thinks are evil. I'm saying that if he committed worse crimes, like if he was stalking a child, 3 p.m. She's walking home from nursery, the people wouldn't be so thirsty over him because they would think he's disgusting. He always justifies it in his eyes, and he's the main character of the show. If you like anime, if you watch the anime Death Note, and you love this show because it's like the same thing, like the main character's evil, so he's always like explaining things to you, and he's like, oh, this is alright because I'm evil and I see it this way. And point number 2, he's hot. Personally, I'm not a gay, but I don't even think he's all that. Like, I think he's alright, but like I've seen hotter in my time. But if you're attractive, people will often treat you better or let you get away with more things because you are hot, and someone will always like you just because you're hot. Even if you're an awful person, they'll be like, oh, he's hot, it's alright. But if you're ugly, however, here's a good example of that. In season 2, I won't spoil much, but in season 2, basically, his ex comes back and she tries to warn everyone else in season 2 that he's evil and crazy and a stalker, but no one believes her. And here's a picture of her. I'll put it on screen. No, I'm not saying she's ugly, but my phone is. So I guess it must be true. Sorry, you're ugly girl. She's not ugly, but in season 1, the girl that Joe falls in love with at the bookstore is called Beck, and she's a blonde white girl. She's conventionally attractive, but this girl called Candice, who's the crazy ex-girlfriend, she's not as conventionally attractive. Conventionally. Everyone tells her she's crazy and they're like, go away, we don't believe you. And I think it partially is due to her looks. We have the word of an attractive white man versus the word of an alright white woman. So who are you gonna believe? Point 3, he's a white man. I don't really like the term white privilege because it's not accurate. It's more like white exemption. To be exempt is to be left out of something or like to be excused, basically. Some non-racist white people will be like, what do you mean white privilege? Like, I've been white all my life and no one ever has been nice to me because I'm white. Hey, are you white? Here's $300 for free. Take it. So they won't think they're privileged, but they don't get things for free. But it's not really privilege. It's more like I don't have to worry about certain things. Like if you're white, you don't have to worry about being followed in a store, usually. You don't have to worry about being pulled over and shot for no reason aside from the fact you're black. You don't have to worry about not getting a job because of your skin tone. You're just exempt from dealing with casual racism. So a minor spoiler is in season 2, he does certain illegal things, like steal someone's ID and pretend to be them. And then he eventually tries to get a driver's license. And the woman at the till, she could have dug deep and asked him questions like, oh, where did you grow up and where were you born? And he would be like, I don't know. But because he's like a regular looking like white guy who's attractive too, she wasn't suspicious of him. But if he was a nigga, if he was a black guy, I swear, then they would have asked him every question in the book. What's your mother's name? What's your mother's sister's uncle's boyfriend's maiden name or something ridiculous like that? Like, I've been followed in stores before, which is kind of a funny story. So I was in the posh area of London, Chelsea or something, and this guy, white security guard, he was working and he saw me. He was like, oh, a nigga, we don't see your kind around here often. And every time I turned to a new aisle, I would walk to the aisle and like 3 seconds later he'd be at the other end of the aisle, just like casually like looking around and looking at me for a second and then walking away. Like, nigga, I know you're following me. And I wanted so badly to be like, I know you're following me, but he would have been like, okay, all right, young man, you want to follow me outside so I can arrest you? Like, why are you following me? I'm not stealing anything, but even if I was, then why is it any of your business, sir? Even if I stole everything in the store, you'd still get paid minimum wage. So mind your business, alright, and leave me to do whatever I want to do, racist. Anyway, like I've been stopped and searched when I was walking home from school when I was like 14 or 13 with a group of my friends, well, my hostages, not my friends, hostages. If you want to know more about that, watch the video up there. I was in a group of like black guys, and obviously we're all like black guys wearing coats, and it does look kind of intimidating because we're all black, but if we're all white guys wearing coats, we'd be seen as like regular young men, but because we're black, it's threatening. But I guess I kind of see the point because I am, I don't like saying this, but I'm kind of 6'3" and I'm really tall. So obviously it can seem scary when someone who's like giant comes over to you. Like, what? Actually, no, it shouldn't be, but I get it. I get some of the fear, but it's really uncalled for most of the time. So non-white people, or even just non-white males, get a lot of crap from the police. Like, girls aren't taken seriously. They're like, he didn't assault you, you're lying. And black people, good luck with that. Especially if you're a black girl. Like not only were you born black, but you're also a woman. Like, sweet, I'm so sorry. That was a joke, by the way, if you couldn't tell. Point is, non-white males get a lot of crap from the police. But what does that have to do with girls on social media loving Joe from You? I think there is a correlation. If he were an attractive black guy, then he'd still get loved as much, aside from the racists and stuff like that.
I do not associate with.
Well, he'd still get love universally from all the girls on Twitter, but the police wouldn't be in love with him. And he might not have got away with murdering 7 people, as he has throughout the 2 seasons so far. And yeah, the girls would still love him on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, but it's easier to love a hot white guy who's free than a sexy black guy in jail. But one more thing is that in season 2, they tried to give him like a little traumatic backstory, like, oh, my mummy left me in the park sometimes and daddy beat me, and like, it's like, oh, please, like, grow up. Everyone goes through some sort of crap, and people are like, oh, you poor thing, you got abused as a child. Like, nigga, please, everyone gets abused in some sort of way. Like, why does it give you an excuse to be a serial killer, huh? Even if he went through hell, it doesn't make it right what he's doing to other people and ruining their lives. That's it for the video, basically. If you enjoyed this topic and you want to see more, I might review You season 2 as a whole. If you like the show and you like what I talked about, then leave me a like, subscribe, press the bell button, or else you won't get notifications at all. And if you want to see more of like me talking about You, even like the whole social thing about it, then let me know in the comments and share it with your friends who've seen the show, because they might think this is funny too. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.